Peace and blessings, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Publisher's Desk. And today, we're talking about one of the biggest myths in American politics. The idea that the Affordable Care Act, better known as Obamacare, actually made health care affordable. So here's the truth. It never did. It replaced a functioning marketplace with a government-controlled system, and now that system is running out of money. When the ACA became law in 2010, it promised to lower costs, better coverage, and more competition. But what it really did was nationalize the private insurance market. Every plan had to include a government-approved list of benefits: maternity care, mental health, pediatric, dentistry, and even if you didn't need them, it was all put in the package. Now, it sounds compassionate, but it destroyed flexibility. Young, healthy Americans started paying inflated premiums to subsidize older, sicker patients. When prices exploded, Washington didn't reform the system. It just started paying the insurance companies directly through federal subsidies. They call it affordable care. But what it really was, it was corporate welfare, brothers and sisters. The consumer didn't save money. The government picked up the tab, and the insurance companies cashed the check. Then came the pandemic. Under the Biden administration, the American Rescue Plan and later the Inflation Reduction Act expanded those ACA subsidies. No one on the exchanges would pay more than 8.5% of their income. And the old 400% income limit was removed. It was sold as a help for working families. But in reality, brothers and sisters, it was a bailout for the insurance industry. Washington guaranteed insurers full payments while taxpayers carried the costs. Those Biden-era subsidies expire at the end of 2025. When they do, Americans will finally see what affordable care really costs. And when the customers disappear, the insurance companies loses their guaranteed money. That's why Washington is panicking right now. Now, here's what nobody wants to talk about, brothers and sisters. Trump did make an offer. He said, instead of sending billions to insurance companies, let's give the money directly to the people. That would open up the door for a true free market, one where individuals could choose their plans, negotiate prices, and keep their savings. But the Democrats folded almost immediately.
The American people. We offered three things. We all vote to reopen the government. We all approve a one-time temporary extension of current ACA premium tax credits. And then after we reopen, we'll negotiate, as Republicans say they want, for longer-term fixes to ACA affordability.
Will the senator yield for a question?
No, only after I finish. Okay. I know many Republicans stormed out the gate to dismiss this offer, but that's a terrible mistake. Our offer is not a new policy. This is not negotiating in a shutdown. It's simply agreeing to maintain current funding levels. A one-year extension is something many Republicans themselves have said they want. It's something a great many Americans support. 55% of Trump supporters support it, after all. So it's alarming that Republicans even refuse to acknowledge we have an immediate crisis right now that needs fixing. Listen to the arguments Republicans have been making on the floor. Just listen. Republicans are making it clear as day that they are happy to let premiums skyrocket. Behind me is the consequence. Look at this across America in states red and blue. The black areas are districts that would increase subsidies, that subsidy costs would increase that insurance payments for people would increase 300%. Dark blue 200 to 300, and the list goes on. Look how bad it is. Every single state's impacted, most of all Republican states. Look, if Republicans want to talk about long-term fixes to ACA affordability, Democrats are ready. We said so yesterday. But in the meantime, doing nothing is derelict because people will go bankrupt, people will lose insurance, people will get sicker. And that's what will happen if this Congress fails to act. Republicans must act. I yield to my colleague from Ohio.
Thank you to the Democrat leader for yielding to a question. Have you put forward a proposal that we can read that you referenced in your speech, where it says a clean continuing resolution with the extension of the ACA Biden COVID credits?
Yes, as we spoke yesterday.
So there is
I will not be interrupted.
No, my question is there a proposal in writing that we can read?
There is a proposal that is very simple. First, you haven't put your proposed ACA, fix to the ACA, the new one, which Leader Thune has spoken about on the floor, so we can't give you a counter in writing. But it's very simple, because we have two sentences we would add to any proposal, which would extend the ACA benefits for 1 year. That's all, plain and simple. And the leader can put that in his proposal on opening up the government. So it doesn't need a vote. It can't be blocked by anybody. It's the right thing to do.
Would it still have no income caps, so people who make $1 million, $2 million, $3 million a year?
As we said, if he would have listened to my speech yesterday, once we pass the 1 year fix, so people right now aren't in difficulty, we would sit and negotiate that. The leader has said he won't negotiate before. We're willing to negotiate once the credits are extended, plain and simple. And we made that in our proposal yesterday.
So for 1 year, people making millions of dollars would still receive these COVID-era subsidies?
The bottom line is the senator from Ohio ignores that 99% of people, you want to hurt people making $10,000, $50,000, $90,000 and hold this up? We can fix what the gentleman said in a negotiation, but don't have people who are every day being hurt by paying thousands of dollars more that they can't afford. I know that the senator from Ohio cares about the billionaires. We care about average working people. I yield the floor.
So just to be clear, Ms. President.
Was recognized.
So just to be clear, what you heard from the minority leader was the following. I just want to recap it for those of you who might have missed. Number one, he acknowledged that the Democrats have actually not put forward a written proposal that people could look at. Number two, he acknowledged that his plan would be to allow millionaires, let me just say that clearly, people making millions of dollars would receive Biden-era COVID Obamacare subsidies. You heard that right. No income cap. I was going to ask him before he stormed out of the room, because evidently he doesn't want to hear any opposing views or actually engage in meaningful negotiation. He would have heard me ask the next question, Madam President, which is, would he continue $0 premiums, which we know for a fact have enormous levels of fraud? If he had stayed, I would have asked him a third question. Does he want these monies to go directly to insurance companies? Let me repeat that, Madam President, because I don't think the American people have been told the truth here. This money does not go to people on Obamacare. This is a check written from the federal government to the wealthiest insurance companies on the planet. He wants no income caps, millionaires getting COVID subsidies. He wants $0 premiums that are filled with fraud. And he wants to enrich insurance companies even more. And because he can't get that, here's the irony. There's federal workers, military, TSA, the clerks here that aren't receiving paychecks, that might get their health insurance canceled because we're not sending the premiums in. He's doing this to help people who have made millions of dollars already with this flawed health care system. And, Madam President, to make it worse, he admitted, right here on the floor of the United States Senate, the minority leader admitted that he has actually not submitted a written proposal to allow the Senate to consider. And let me just say one last thing, and I'll yield my time to the senator from Louisiana, who last night, I want to give him enormous credit, honestly, phenomenal proposal. I love what you said, which is instead of sending this money to insurance companies, why don't we send it to the people directly? Let them be empowered to hold insurance companies accountable. Let them make the decisions. I find it laughable that he says, I'm for billionaires. I'm somebody who worked my entire life in a private sector, and according to financial disclosures, he has a higher net worth than I do, and he's been a politician his whole life. So I don't know the math around that. But I'll yield the floor to my great colleague from Louisiana, who sadly, by the way, the cameras don't pan the room. There's no Democrats here listening to what you're about to say. And you're here because you're a good man, because in your heart you want to fix this. They say that we won't negotiate with them. They want to negotiate with President Trump, which is funny because I look around, there's little plaques all over this floor. There's none that say Donald J. Trump. There's none that say that. This is a negotiation among the United States Senate. But they're not even here. Look, gone, empty, empty. Maybe they're at lunch with some lobbyists. Maybe from insurance company lobbyists are taking them out and playing golf today. I would if I were an insurance company lobbyist. I'd be like, man, you guys are making me rich. Like filthy, filthy rich. And isn't it, and I'm going to end, I swear here. Isn't it ironic, Senator Cassidy, that we want to give the money directly to the American people, and they want to give it right into the pockets of the people who fund their campaigns. And maybe they even own those stocks. Things for people out there to listen to and think about. I'll yield the floor now.
Thank you, Senator Moreno.
If you're on Medicare, Medicaid, or have union or employee insurance, you're not affected. But if you buy insurance on the ACA marketplace, that's when it affects you. Millions can see their premiums double or lose eligibility altogether. The ACA itself doesn't disappear, only the extra subsidies that made it look affordable. And when those vanish, the true price of the system is exposed. So let's be clear, brothers and sisters. This won't hit the poor or retired. It will help the self-employed, small business owners, and gig workers, the backbone of American economy. When subsidies disappear, so do the customers.
Correct?
Correct.
To your knowledge, was there a hearing last year in 2024 in which the Democrats got together and say, whoa, these Biden-era COVID Obamacare subsidies, we set them to expire in 25. We should really make them permanent or extend them. Was there a single hearing in your committee about that topic?
There was not.
So, wait, I'm confused. They set the expiration date at 25, and then they didn't have one hearing to say, my God, now how about in December of 24? They knew they lost the election. Did they have an emergency meeting in December of 2024 and said, these Biden-era COVID Obamacare subsidies are going to expire. We don't know the Republicans are going to extend them. We need to do that. Did they add it to the continuing resolution that funded the government in December then, when they had total control of this chamber? Did they do it then?
They did not.
So this is a political stunt, and the American people need to see it for what it is. My career, I negotiated my whole life. Negotiation is about leverage. Would you agree?
Yep.
What leverage are the Democrats using in this negotiation?
Unfortunately, shutting down the government.
What does that mean, shutting down the government? Who's the leverage? Is it air traffic controllers that aren't getting paid? The Capitol Police that aren't getting paid? Yesterday, we tried to fund federal workers who are forced to work. Is that true?
Correct.
Democrats voted that down. Is that correct?
Correct.
Would you have a hard time walking into this building, Senator, and seeing those Capitol Police officers out there and your staff and knowing that you voted not to pay them?
I cannot imagine feeling good about that.
Knowing that you walked by TSA to go to your lobbyist retreat in Napa Valley, and you know that you are responsible for them not getting paid, that they're your leverage, SNAP recipients, Head Start recipients. They're using the American people's suffering as political leverage. That's how far gone the Democrat Party is. What you're offering would hurt insurance companies' pocketbooks, would it not?
Insurance companies will do pretty well no matter what.
But this would hurt their
But
pocket.
it would take $26 billion that would instead go to an insurance company, and instead it gives it to a family for the. I always use the feminine. Women make all the decisions in healthcare. It would give her the ability to make a best decision for real care for her family, finding the best value for her dollar. 100% of it would go to her, to all of those, and they would make a better decision.
Two final questions, and I will yield the floor. Our great senator from West Virginia needs to speak. $26 billion. $26 billion, a number that most Americans can't even conceive. The government is staying closed because Democrats want to give $26 billion more to insurance companies, and you're proposing to give that to the American people instead. Is that accurate?
Absolutely.
Last question. The COVID Biden-era subsidies were set to expire in 2025 by Democrats. Did you know that when they had power, they set the EV, electric vehicle subsidies, to expire in 2032?
Wait. So just to understand, the EV subsidies did not expire until 2032, but this subsidy for people's health insurance expired this year.
Correct, and they were $7,500. You could lease a Rolls-Royce, a Mercedes, a Lamborghini, and if you did that, the government would give you $7,500, Madam President. I want the American people to think about that when they understand how far gone the Democrat Party has gone. Thank you for your presentation.
Yeah.
That's why they voted to open the government back up, because they didn't want to have that discussion on the floor. See, because if money went to the people, it would be taking control away from Washington and expose how the ACA really works. It wasn't about helping people. It was about helping the system. What's a real free market? That Americans are able to buy coverage across state lines, choose simple or catastrophic plans, use health savings accounts freely, and negotiate prices directly with the doctors. Now that's freedom. That's accountability. That's part of capitalism, absolutely, but it's not cronyism. See, the Affordable Care Act was never about affordability. It was about control. It made the government the middleman and the insurance companies the beneficiaries, while taxpayers footed the bill. The Biden era subsidies didn't fix the system either. They hid its failure. And when they expire, Americans will see the truth. The ACA was never built to stand on its own. You can't have free market when Washington sets the prices, defines the product, and pays the bill until we demand transparency on both sides. Competition and consumer choice, healthcare will remain a political hustle. It will remain sick care dressed up as reform. I'm Damon K. Jones, and thanks for watching The Publisher's Desk for Black Westchester Magazine and blackwestchester.com. Please go to our website, check out the articles that we have on our website. And please like, share, and subscribe. And thank you for watching. And as always, stay blessed, stay safe, and stay blacktastic. Peace.